You said earlier, though, that the Fed balance sheet is only about 6 trillion compared to the 38 trillion in securities. And so, with the deficit being, close to 2 trillion per year, and get into maybe this period, I don't know if you agree with this period of fiscal dominance, where it's like the Fed sort of with their monetary policy has maybe lost a lot of influence, if not all control, and the government sort of now has been able to sort of take that over with the Treasury spending, which maybe is part of the reason why we just saw the largest or the longest government shutdown in history, which really seemed to suck the liquidity out of the system and also probably caused Bitcoin sort of a short-term crash. But in that type of a system, to your point, if the Fed is independent, right, the government does not control it, but can the government override it with their own fiscal, monetary policy?
No, the government can't override it. It's all controlled. It's a corporate. It's the corporate, monopoly is in effect. There's no way that, okay, whether it's funding political campaigns, and we're getting ready to head into the 2026 elections, whether it's presidential campaigns. There's also even, and I know this probably hurts some people, guess what? Even Trump ain't in control. Like, Trump's going to be gone, all right? In like 24 months, he's going to be a nothing burger. Like, all of this is where, and the world keeps going down the same path that has continued to go down and will continue to go down, which is essentially a control path by the big banks, the big money, the Rothschilds. These types of groups continue to just manipulate things. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous when you look back and you're like going back to the Napoleonic Wars and you're like, okay, what was happening with the Rothschilds? And they're like, okay, here's what the Rothschilds were doing. They were literally going to London, starting rumors that the French won the war when in actuality England won. Then they were shorting English bonds because they knew that actually, excuse me, they were shorting French bonds, but even though they knew that England won, and they're just manipulating it all. And this is the same thing that these people have been doing for decades, hundreds of years. The only thing that breaks this whole cycle is a whole new monetary system.
Well,
And I do think, Mark, this is where you get into Bitcoin.
we're gonna get into that, but I gotta rewind a second here because you just said something pretty outrageous. You said that in 24 months Trump will be gone, or you said he'll be a nothing burger. Now it looks like as of right now he's getting ready to elect the next Ford Fed chair. He's gonna get rid of Powell and put in a Dove. Somebody he's been very vocal. He wants rates at 1%. He tends to get what he wants. I could see rates getting there by the end of his term in 3 years, but you're saying in 24 months. We're also seeing now he's trying to sort of maybe veto or roll back all of Biden's auto pen signatures, including a lot of the nominations for the Fed.
Good luck. We'll see if he does that, Mark. I doubt it.
But what do you mean when you say he'll basically be gone or be a nothing burger in 24 months?
I think that we live in a systematic, like a machine, and that even someone as dominant as Trump is really not able to affect the trajectory of that machine.
Okay. And what is the trajectory of this machine? Up and to the right?
It's a continuing trajectory of consolidation, wealth, and power in the control of the elites. And I think that the only way that people are going to start to break free from it is literally with a new monetary system. And I think the only new monetary system in the last 4,000 years is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I do think it's being threatened right now. And I do think it's being attacked. I think the reason Bitcoin is down right now is because it's being attacked. And I think that this is the key. Like, monetary systems are the key. They have always been the key. They are being attacked. And that even if you look at someone like a Trump or a Powell or whoever they are, they're just little cogs in the machine that are going to be here and they're going to be gone. What you want to look at is the dollar, gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Those are your 4 key players. And you want to see where all those going, and you want to be positioned accordingly. And in my opinion, and what I do is I want to own all 4: gold, silver, not the dollar, but Bitcoin And those are the three key things. And when I say dollar, what I mean by owning that is I do own assets that are related to the dollar, such as stocks and different ETFs and things. Like I basically believe in like a third, a third, a third. Have a third gold, a third precious metals, a third Bitcoin, and then a third equity.
Dollar denominated
And
assets.
those are your that's the way I do it.
Yeah. Now, you talked about Bitcoin's being under attack. You believe that. That's why we see this sort of price being depressed right now. Maybe it was just a liquidity bubble because of the government shutdown, whatever. But you've also been quite a bit the last couple of weeks, maybe a month, talking about the everything, everywhere, all at once rally. So not just bullish on stocks or bullish on Bitcoin or silver, but all of it together, where all these assets sort of melt up together. So I've been hearing you talk about that, but now you're just saying right now you think Bitcoin's under attack. So does that mean that Bitcoin is not going to really care about the attacks and it's just all going to melt up with everything?
Well, I've been wrong about Bitcoin, Mark. So
In the short term.
I'm
in the short term.
Yeah, in the short term. In the long term, I've been absolutely right. In the short term, I literally looked about a month or two ago at the down play in Bitcoin, and I thought maybe we get to 98, and then it's gonna, skyrocket up. And I came to believe that there is a concerted effort, and this is post October 10th. And I think October 10th is the key date. When you literally had that, greater than an FCX, like basically takeout of crypto. And even though Bitcoin is completely different than crypto, I completely get that. There's an association of Bitcoin with crypto. Bitcoin got taken down, crypto got taken down, and it's significant.
Yeah.
And we're still working it off. And Tom Lee talks about like the FCX thing. He says it took 8 weeks, and that we're close to 8 weeks and we're going to be done, and then Bitcoin's going to be at new highs by the end of January. God help me. I hope Tom Lee's right that we're back at new highs on Bitcoin at the end of January.
Yeah.
I think it could take a little bit more time, but I do think we're getting there.
Yeah.
I just think that this is the attack. This is the vertical.
That's the consolidation,
the army,
right?
Yeah, the army's coming in and they're saying, you know what? We don't want this. You talk about this a little bit about this is a new financial system. This is a new form of collateral. This is independent. This is permissionless.
Yep.
You don't need to trust anybody.
Right.
That scares the shit out of Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want that to happen. So when they see a moment of weakness, they're going to come in hard.
Yeah.
And I think that they came in hard after October 10th, and they're trying to knock it down, but I don't think they're going to be successful.
I think it's what you said earlier. I asked you, like, what is that long-term playbook? And you said it's about concentration. And so when you look back through all the crashes that we've had, it continues to consolidate the assets and the power, right? So 2008, majority of Americans lost their homes and the banks bought them all back up, right? And so it's like you crush it down, you consolidate the power, and then you sort of like let it go back up again. And so when you look at these events like you're talking about, I don't know if it's so much to destroy it as in like, hey, let's concentrate some of the power. That may be how I'm looking at it. But because I would say to the point, we did talk about this earlier before we started recording, but on October 10th, which is when Bitcoin had its, fell from its high, is when JP Morgan started attack on MicroStrategy by raising the margin requirements. But it also was at the exact same time that Trump put out the tweet about whatever 100% tariffs on China, which caused the markets to crash. And because the Bitcoin volatility has really gone down, and crypto in general, since the ETFs came out, we've seen massive leverage get built up in the system because the degens, they want to get those returns. They built up all this leverage, and then all it takes is, this dry kindling takes a little spark. It takes a Trump tweet with a little bit of FUD in the news from JP Morgan, and then, as you mentioned, Tom Lee, he's talked about this, it just triggered just a nonstop liquidation of all these shorts. And then, exchanges had the ADL and started clearing those transactions, and it started cascading down. And then it was happening in this rich environment where you had this liquidity bubble because the Fed was still in QT, the government was shut down, they weren't spending, and then it just kind of got away from itself. And maybe it was like the kindling, the brush was dry, and it just took a little bit of news from JP Morgan and a Trump tweet, and then it just kind of came down. And then the reason I'd say that, and I'll finish with this, why it's a concentration is because then all of the banks, I mean, from BlackRock all the way down to JP Morgan, all the way down to PNC Bank, just announced it a couple days ago, they're all launching Bitcoin products. And so it's like, BlackRock doesn't want Bitcoin to go away. They're making more money than they've ever made on their ETF. They want people to buy the ETF, but
They want it to go down, Mark. They're driving it down.
well,
man.
maybe short
honestly
term
think they're driving
to
it down.
consolidate the power, right? Or you're thinking long term they want to go down. BlackRock wants to,
No, I think they're driving it down short term. And they want to buy the shit out of it.
right, to
I
concentrate
think
the power.
people are going to come in. Institutional investors are going to come in. I think it might be at the high 70s. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I said this on a different broadcast I did, which is basically saying, like, I think they still want it to go lower, but they want to buy the hell out of it. Every single institutional person I listen to, either personally in like a private life or like things I hear on TV or different things, I think they all want to get into Bitcoin. And if you look at like what JP Morgan is doing, you look at like they just keep releasing products.
Right.
Man, they're just trying to appropriate it. That's all it is. I have traded for probably 30 years. And one thing I can tell you, I see every single time, especially when I trade in very short term, is like I'll look at a short-term trade. It might be like a 15-minute like moving average chart. Right before the biggest upswing, there's just like a drop, like a swoosh. Like they just take it down. They take it down. Why? It's called stop hunting.
Yeah, they hunt them.
They want to close out the stops. They're closing out the stops on Bitcoin right now. I mean, it's going to go up big time. And you know what they're doing? They're closing out the stops. They're stop hunting. And that's why I'm trying not to be like overly optimistic, because I was completely wrong. I said, oh, we might get down to the 90s and then we're going to go back to 150 by February. But I'm trying to keep it clear. But I honestly think they're bringing Bitcoin down because they're going to bring it up.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're stop hunting. They're closing out the stops. Everything's getting closed out. They're coming in, they're swooping it up, they're buying it, and then they're going to take it up to 150, 160 in the next 3-4 months.
If you look at the new Bitcoin product that JP Morgan launched, I think it sort of tells us that, because the structured product they have basically says they're only going to pay you 1.5% on the upside. So they want it to go up more than that so they can siphon off the arbitrage on that. But also, they'll cover any losses down to 30%. So that must mean they don't want it to go down, because then they have to eat the loss. They want it to go up more than 1.5% so they can make the difference. And that sort of tells us where, if they have control, where they would want it to go.
They are doing it. I saw a video you did the other day about how JP Morgan's trying to take away some of the advantage that Strategy and Sailor put into place. I mean, that's the game they're playing. That's it. They're seeing this. This is so obvious. Like anybody that doesn't see it, I just don't know what to tell you. But that's what they're doing. And they're doing it. It's happening. This is a threat. This is a new monetary system. But that does not mean, in my opinion, because I'm a gold guy, I also don't think that means like the gold, silver. I think what this means is that this dollar regime is over, and that the dollar regime has had its days numbered for a long time.
Yeah.
And that this is over. And what's happening is we've got a gold, a silver, a Bitcoin. We're going into a new regime. I have said, so I had never been on social media my entire life until a year or two ago when I wrote a book. It's called Quoz, Q-U-O-Z, Financial Thriller. I wrote that book a couple years ago. My publisher told me, create an X account. Create an X account. Okay. I honestly believe that we are at a point where, and this was the basis of Quoz, where I talked about in Quoz that we're moving away from the dollar system. These people are trying to move away from the dollar system because we have to. because it's failing. This goes back to Bretton Woods, which was in July of 1944. I could start to talk ad infinitum about
Right.
Bretton Woods, about John Maynard Keynes, about how Soviet agents were representing the United States at Bretton Woods under the Treasury Secretary of FDR in 1944. I mean, we can go into all of this. This is just a big rabbit hole of how the world is messed up. And when you listen to people like yourself, when you listen to people like Michael Saylor, when you listen to people like me, you start to understand this is all a messed up world. And that part of it is that there's a monetary base that's completely messed up and controlled and manipulated. And escaping that monetary base is a form of freedom. And that's gold, silver, and Bitcoin.
Yeah. Hey, if you like this short conversation I just had, you're going to love the full-length conversation. Don't miss it. You can go ahead and click right over here, and I'll see you over there.